So Social Security began to grow. Initially, there were over 9 million workers like farm, servers, and government employees that were excluded from the Social Security system, as were the railroad workers who had their one retirement fund established from the Social Security system of 1934. But the Social Security amendments of 1939 brought this forward for 1940. There were also lots of other programs that were beginning to establish, like the Old Age Survivors Insurance, which was the OASI. This would be kind of like life insurance. Over the next few decades, as the economy grew rapidly, Social Security continued to expand, covering more and more workers and adding new benefits. Almost everyone had it, and as it reached out to farmers and a widespread amount of people, it created more benefits and programs to target all of those kinds of people and their jobs. The old age survivors insurance was fixed to provide a monthly benefit to permanently or totally disabled workers aged 50 to 65 for disabled children of retired or deceased workers. This now became the Old Age Survivors and Disability Insurance of 1965. Also, in 1965, health insurance was added to the Social Security umbrella with the establishment of Medicare, although the Social Security Administration didn't run this program. The way Social Security works is the insurance is taken out by payroll. For example, if you get a check from your company, the tax is taken out for your insurance and put away. Many people debated on this because it was such a leap of faith as to who actually gets that tax that is taken out of your check, and if they are saving it for your insurance or spending it with the mindset of replacing it. Some plus sides to Social Security would be reducing the unemployment by inducing workers to retire, which keeps the employment options always opening. By the mid-1970s, problems began coming up with Social Security because since there were so many programs that were created and all these benefits that were created to target all of these different types of people, it ran a deficit. This was by spending more on the benefits than on collected taxes. So to fix this, Congress substantially increased Social Security taxes and benefits were scaled back by reducing spousal benefits and amending the index procedure. In 1981, changes kept being made, and people were not happy with these changes and began protesting. Since there were so many people that were unhappy, Reagan, who was our president, appointed the Bipartisan National Committee on Social Security Reform to make recommendations on the financial crisis. The commission decided to further increase taxes and begin taxing the benefits of higher income retirees and gradually increase the normal retirement age from 65 to 70. In the 2000s, unemployment reached its lowest rate in over 30 years, and both houses of Congress unanimously voted that people don't have to pay the Social Security. They don't have to pay the security tax after a certain age. The National Committee on Social Security Reform made a prediction for the next few years ahead, and they said by 1993, Social Security Board of Trustees projected that the OASDI would begin running deficits at around 2015, and that Social Security spending would then exceed income by ever-increasing margin, and the board expected that the trust fund to be exhausted by about 2035. Our current Social Security situation matches what the Security Board projected for 2015. Social Security then began gaining some more options for the people to choose for their Social Security. The maintain benefits option kept a similar tradition but increased taxes and slightly reduced benefits. The personal security account put half into a mandatory personal retirement and all the other half into the stock market. And individual accounts was in between the first two that proposed that Social Security payroll be increased and this money be put out into the government. During a speech, Roosevelt said it had been credited with bringing true security to American workers, reducing the fear of poverty and old age, and allowing more of the elderly to retire and giving them the resources to live independently. When talking about Social Security, Roosevelt also said, "This Social Security system measure gives at least some protection to the 50 millions of Americans who will reap direct benefits through unemployment, compensation through old age pensions, and through increased services for the protection of children and prevention of ill health." So, to conclude, Social Security has had a huge impact on the United States economically and politically, and has affected the lives of millions of people for years and years. So, to support my findings, I I researched about to support my findings about how much of an impact Roosevelt had on the people. I found some letters that people wrote to him, reaching out for support and asking for help or thanking him for what he has done for them. The first example that I'm going to talk about, is a father who is reaching out to Roosevelt about his family of five children and a sick wife. He touches on the fact that his wife needs medical attention but cannot afford it. Now he doesn't have money for coal for the winter time. At the end of the letter, he says, "Thank you in advance for any help or information given to me. I remain your humble servant." Another example is a woman who is thanking Mr. and Mrs. Roosevelt for saving her house. As she says, "You have saved my life. I would have killed myself if I would have lost my house." These were only a couple examples of the hundreds of letters that were written to the Roosevelts, asking them for help and thanking them for all of their help. President Roosevelt has left a forever lasting impression on the world, and he has affected so many people and has gotten the United States out of the Great Depression and totally fixed our federal government system.